topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Powerful Business Strategies, where you will find out that everything you have ever learned about growing your business is wrong. Finally, a show where you'll learn the right way to grow your business by learning business and financial strategies that your competition isn't doing. And now, here is your host, President of Next Step CFO, Michael Barbarita. And joining Michael for today's show as an executive moderator is Chucky Obia.
Welcome to Powerful Business Strategies. Well, the reason why you don't hear that energized voice that usually starts the show of Chucky Obio welcoming you to the show is because Chucky's wife and Chucky recently had their first baby, Chelsea Adeze Obio, and was welcomed to the world. So congratulations to Chucky and his wife, and Chucky will be on leave for a while. So in the meantime, my name is Michael Barbarita, president of Next Step CFO, and Next Step CFO is a fractional CFO and strategic implementation firm. Business owners hire us to double and triple their profit through implementing business and financial strategies that their competition isn't doing. And our vision is to ensure overwhelmed business owners achieve the time freedom and consistent profits to build a legacy and the life they desire. Our mission is dedicated to guiding small business owners to leveraging their time, exploding their profits, and building a meaningful legacy. This show, Powerful Business Strategies, in our book of the same name, is a step towards accomplishing that vision and mission. And Chucky and I are both affiliated with a number of different organizations. Chucky currently serves as the managing director of business development for Vetter Price, which is a global business-focused law firm. And in addition to that, Chucky and I collaborate to moderate business roundtables around the country and around the world and document those insights as part of our book, Powerful Business Strategies. But please note that the views expressed on this show are our personal views based on our own successful experiences. So here's something I'd like to share that I've announced before. If you have a business problem that you would like us to answer, or a business question, or a strategy that you'd like to ask us about, please email us at ask@nextstepcfo.net. Doesn't matter what the business problem is or the question, and we'll answer it. We'll answer it for you. There are a couple things that we do ask, though. Number one, please state whether it is something that we can answer on the air or if it's confidential. And of course, if it's confidential, we won't put it on the air. And number two, please provide your phone number, because business problems can be complex and we might need more context or clarity. That email address again is ask@nextstepcfo.net. And I want to point out that we've had a couple, but they requested confidentiality, which of course we will always honor. You know, every morning across the country, business owners like you wake up carrying the weight of countless decisions, endless responsibilities, and sometimes overwhelming pressure. You carry the dreams of your family, the livelihoods of your employees, and the trust of your customers all on your shoulders. Some days it feels like you're climbing a mountain that just keeps getting deeper. Competition gets tougher, the margins get tighter, and the challenges keep coming. But here's what I want you to remember. You're not just a business owner, you're a problem solver, a dream builder, and a value creator. Every successful business owner I've ever worked with has faced moments where they've questioned everything. But what separates those who break through from those who break down isn't just talent or resources. It's their willingness to think differently when everyone else is thinking the same. Today, we're going to show you how to turn your biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities, because sometimes the very things that feel like they're holding you back are actually setting you up for a breakthrough. So remember, the tough times don't last, but tough business owners do. And let's turn those $100,000 mistakes into million-dollar opportunities. Every great success story starts with someone who refused to accept the status quo. As business owners, we often think our biggest risks come from taking action, like launching that new product or expanding new markets or raising our prices. But the truth is, the most expensive mistakes in business come from standing still, from doing the things that the way they've always been done. Today, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge everything you think and you know about running your business. Why? Well, because the cost of staying comfortable could be costing you 100 grand or more each year. So get ready to start thinking differently and to act boldly. Today's show might make some of you uncomfortable because we're going to talk about mistakes that could be costing your business 6 figures or more each year. Just last month, I was working with a client in the trades who was doing everything by the book, following all the traditional business advice, working harder than ever, and yet they were leaving over $100,000 on the table simply because they were making what most people would consider normal business decisions. So let me share something that I've shared before and is actually the premise of the show. 95% of business and financial strategies used today are identical to your competitors, and they don't work. Think about that. If you're doing the same things as everyone else in your industry, you're essentially competing solely on the only option that the customer has to differentiate you, and that is price. And competing on price, as we all know and said many times, is a race to the bottom. Today, we're going to uncover 3 critical mistakes that are silently draining money from your business. But here's what makes this show different. We're not just going to point out the problems, but for each mistake, we're going to give you specific actionable strategies that you can implement immediately to turn these costly errors into profit opportunities. And the mistakes we'll uncover today aren't just theory. These are real issues. We've encountered hundreds of these issues with hundreds of business owners across dozens of industries, from contractors to manufacturers, from service providers to retailers. These mistakes, they're all universal. But here's the good news. They're also completely fixable. What's exciting is that when you correct these mistakes, you're not just saving money, you're actually creating new opportunities for growth, and your competition isn't even aware of it. And this is about turning problems into profit centers. So grab that pen and paper, because you're about to discover why everything you've ever learned about growing your business is wrong, and more importantly, what to do about it. And if you're driving, remember, you can get the recording at powerfulbusinessstrategies.com. So let's dive into the first major mistake costing businesses 100 grand or more. And that is not being able to speak your customer's language. This might sound simple, but it's far more complex and far more costly than most realize. There's a startling fact. Most business owners think they know their customers, but they're actually marketing to themselves. They create messages that would convince themselves to buy, not messages that resonate with their actual target market. So let me give you a real example. We had a client in the professional services industry who was targeting business owners between ages 40 to 49. And they were using messaging focused on innovative solutions and cutting edge technology. But when we actually studied their target demographic, we discovered business owners in this age group weren't staying up at night worried about innovation. Their primary concerns were time management, money, and health. This misalignment between messaging and customer concerns was costing them dozens of potential clients each year. And with an average client value of $5,000, this single mistake was costing them well over 100 grand annually. So let's break this down further. Your customer's language changes dramatically based on their age and life stage. A 30-year-old entrepreneur has a completely different concern than a 50-year-old business owner. The younger entrepreneur might be focused on proving themselves and scaling quickly, while the older business owner is thinking about legacy and stability. Here's what's critical to understand. Your customers don't buy your product or service. They buy what they believe that product or service will do for them and solve their problem. And what they believe it will do for them is deeply connected to their current life stage and the current challenges that they're going through. And this is where our conversion formula becomes critical. So instead of what your customers want, you need to identify their specific pain points based on their age and life stage, understand what keeps them up at night, know what they're getting criticized for at home, understand their business aspirations, and speak directly to these concerns in their language, not yours. The mistake isn't just missing these points, it's assuming you know it's assuming you know them without doing the proper research, because every time you put out marketing that doesn't resonate with your target audience, or their actual concerns or their issues and problems, you're just wasting your money, and you're actively pushing potential clients away from you. So the solution isn't just about changing your marketing message. It's about fundamentally shifting how you think about customer communication. You need to create what we call customer communication matrix that aligns with different age groups and their specific concerns. For instance, if you are targeting 40 to 49-year-olds, your messaging should focus on work-life balance solutions, time optimization strategies, health and wellness integration, and legacy building opportunities. And this isn't just theory. We've seen businesses double and triple their conversion rates simply by aligning their messaging with their customers' actual concerns. I have a question from a listener. Michael, you mentioned the customer communication matrix. Can you give me a specific example of how a business owner could start building this today? That's a great question. Well, the fastest way to start, I think, is by interviewing 5 to 10 of your best current customers. Ask them these specific questions. What kept you up at night before finding our solution? What finally made you decide to work with us? And what words or phrases really resonate with you in the discussions that we've had? And their answers will form the foundation of your matrix, and you'll often find their language is very different from what you've been using in your marketing. But here's where most businesses make even a costlier mistake. They stop at just understanding their customer's language. The real power comes in using this understanding to create what we call trigger points in all your communication. So let me explain what I mean by trigger points. When we studied businesses that were successfully converting prospects into customers, we found it wasn't just about speaking the right language. It was about hitting specific emotional triggers at the right time in the customer journey. For example, let's look at how this plays out in different age groups. So for business owners in the 30s, the trigger points often revolve around fear of missing opportunities, desire to prove themselves, need for rapid growth, concern about making the right long-term decisions. And those in their 40s, the triggers shift to work-life balance concerns, legacy building, maximizing efficiency, and return on investment. And for those 50 and up, the triggers become stability and security, succession planning, building lasting value, and creating systems that work without their constant involvement. And here's where that $100,000 mistake just compounds. Most businesses use a one-size-fits-all approach in their marketing and sales process. They might have great copy, they might have beautiful design and even compelling offers, but if they're not hitting the right trigger points for their specific audience, they're leaving enormous amounts of money on the table. So let me share a case study. It is a business consultant who was targeting all business owners with the same message about increasing profitability. And when they segmented their message based on age groups and trigger points, Their results were staggering. For clients in their 30s, they focused on proven systems to scale faster. For clients in their 40s, they emphasized working smarter, not harder. For the 50-plus group, they highlighted business sustainable value. And the result is their conversions actually tripled in just 90 days with an average client value of $36,000. This single change added over 200 grand to their annual revenue. And it's not just about marketing. This understanding needs to permeate every aspect of your business. How you structure your offers, how you conduct sales conversations, how you deliver your services, how you handle follow-up, even how you ask for referrals. And each of these touch points needs to align with your customer's language and trigger points, or you're going to create a disconnect that costs you money at every single step. So let's see, a listener is asking, can you explain how a business owner would identify these trigger points for their specific industry? Well, you start with what I call the pain point pyramid. So interview your last, say 10 customers and ask them to rank their top 3 concerns before they bought from you. Then ask them what specific words or phrases resonated the most during the buying process. And you'll start to see patterns emerge that reveal your actual industry-specific trigger points. And the key is to look for emotional drivers, not just logical ones. So here's another question. Well, what about businesses that serve multiple age groups? Should they create completely separate marketing campaigns for each group? That's a great question. That comes up a lot. The answer is yes, but with a strategical approach. You see, you don't need to completely separate campaigns, but you do need what I call messaging branches. Start with a core message about your unique value proposition, your position of market dominance, and then create specific branches that speak to each age group's trigger. So, for example, a financial advisor might have a core message about securing your financial future, but branch into accelerating wealth building for younger clients and preserving and protecting for older clients. You see, it's about customization and not complete recreation. So before I continue this discussion, we're going to take a 90-second break.
Hey there, business owners. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of blending in with your competitors? Frustrated with slow growth and slim margins? Well, I've got news for you. Everything you've ever learned about growing your business is wrong. But don't worry. I'm here to let you in on a secret weapon, your position of market dominance. It's what sets you apart, makes you irreplaceable, and has customers lining up at your door. My name is Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. I know what you're thinking. Sounds great, Michael, but how do I find my position of market dominance? Well, that's exactly why we've created our game-changing implementation program called Next Step to Market Dominance. In just 90 days, we'll guide you step by step to a position of market dominance by uncovering your unique strengths that competitors can't touch, by crafting a message that resonates deeply with your ideal customer, by building a strategy that turns you into the go-to expert in your field. Now, this isn't theory. These are battle-tested strategies that have helped businesses like yours double, triple, and quadruple their revenue. Don't let another quarter go by struggling to stand out. It's time to dominate your market, period. Go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the form, and in the message section, put the word dominate. Or call us at 781-326-3822. That's nextstepcfo.net/contact, or call us at 781-326-3822.
Welcome back. So let's dive into the second major $100,000 mistake, and that is doing things in the wrong order. You know, business owners are overwhelmed. There are literally hundreds of things competing for their attention every single day. But here's the truth. 80% of your results come from just 20% of your activities. That's that 80-20 rule. And the problem is most business owners are focusing on the wrong 20%. So let me share a story that really drives this home. A contractor who was spending countless hours perfecting his website, obsessing over social media and trying every new marketing tactic he could find, was working over 70 hours a week and barely keeping his head above water. When we analyzed his business, he discovered he was focusing on activities that generated only 15% of his revenue while neglecting the core activities that could truly move the needle. This is where that 80-20 rule becomes crucial in business. So let me break that down on what actually matters. And we call in our book we call this in our book the 7-step pathway to profit formula. So the first step is lead generation, not just getting more leads, but getting the right leads. Understanding your ideal customer profile, creating a position of market dominance. This is all under lead generation, and developing a compelling offer that speaks directly to your target market with the right language and those trigger points. The second is higher conversions, converting leads to the next step in your sales process, creating a systematic approach to follow up, implementing proper lead nurturing systems, and using the conversion formula that we discussed earlier. Closing rate improvement is the third thing, the third part of the 7-step pathway to profit formula. So under closing rate improvement, you need to understand the buyer's journey. You need to implement risk reversal strategies. All these things we've talked about in prior shows, by the way. Creating urgency without being pushy, and developing a systematic approach to objection handling. Number 4 is client retention. So the fourth step in the 7-step pathway to profit formula is client retention. Creating systems for regular communication, implementing feedback loops, developing loyalty programs, building referral systems. 5th is average transaction value, increasing the average transaction value. So that's implementing effective upsell strategies, creating valuable bundles, developing premium offerings, and strategic pricing optimization. And then the 6th is frequency of sale, which is how many times you can get the same customer to buy, and then controlling your costs. So that 7-step pathway to profit formula. This is that 20% that drives 80% of your revenue. Number 1 is lead generation improvement. 2nd is higher conversions. Now, conversions mean converting, as I mentioned, into the next step of your sales process. 3rd is the closing rate. 4th is client retention. 5th is increasing the average transaction value per customer. 6th is increasing the number of times the customer buys, or frequency of sale, and then controlling costs, both fixed costs and variable costs. And what's amazing about these 7 steps is that small little tweaks, small incremental improvements in these 7 areas can have an incredible compound effect on profit. And most business owners do these steps in exactly the wrong order. They start with trying to get more leads before they optimize their conversion process. That's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. So let me give you a real life example of the cost of this mistake. So a company was spending $10,000 per month on marketing to generate new leads. Their conversion rate was 10%, which is pretty standard. And by focusing on improving their conversion rate first before spending more on marketing, they were able to double their conversion rate by 20%. So it's these 7 steps that you need to, before you go into those Facebook ads or any of the messaging, you got to work on this 20%. So think about that for a moment. This particular example, the same marketing spend, same number of leads, but twice the revenue. And for this business, that meant an additional $300,000 without spending an extra dime on marketing. And this is why understanding the proper order of operations is so crucial. And here's the sequence that actually works. First, optimize your conversion process and create a position of market dominance so that you have the right messaging. Then improve your closing rate, which, by the way, your position of market dominance will do that. Next, increase your average transaction value. After that, focus on client retention, then frequency, number of times they buy, then cut costs. And only then should you significantly increase your lead generation efforts, once you have all that in the works. So let me show you how this compounding effect I talk about with small little tweaks. So a 10% improvement in conversion rate combined with a 10% improvement in closing rate, plus a 10% increase in average transaction value, and a 10% improvement in client retention, that doesn't give you a 40% improvement. It actually gives you a 146% improvement, because each enhancement multiplies the effect of the other. And by the way, at Next Step CFO, we don't just play in the 10% increases. We leave that to the marketing agencies who win awards and gloat over that. We play in the 30 to 40% increases. But here's the even bigger mistake: not having a system to track and measure these improvements. Oh God, that is huge. If you don't, this is just an enormous mistake, because you don't know the results of your efforts when you're not tracking, and then you don't know what changes to make. You need that revenue matrix that shows you exactly where you are now in each area, what improvements are possible, and what each improvement is worth in actual dollars, and which improvement to tackle first. So let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to do a quick exercise and think about your business right now. What's your current conversion rate? What's your closing rate? What's your average transaction value? And what's your client retention? And if you don't know these numbers off the top of your head, you're not alone, but you are leaving massive amounts of money on the table, because by not knowing this information, there's no way you can improve it, know how to improve it, know where to improve it. So before I talk more about these numbers, I got a question. Got a question from a listener. So on the 7-step pathway to profit formula, for business owners who are overwhelmed with daily operations, how can they start implementing this without getting overwhelmed? Well, that's a great question. I mean, the purpose of it is so that you don't get overwhelmed. But start with what I call a 15-minute analysis. Take 15 minutes each day to look at just one part of the conversion process, one part of the 7-step formula. So on Monday, review your lead responses. On Tuesday, look at your follow-up system. On Wednesday, examine your closing process, and so on. Small, focused analysis leads to clear priorities. Within 2 weeks, you'll have a clear picture of where to start without feeling overwhelmed by trying to fix everything all at once. So the solution isn't just knowing about your conversion numbers, as we were talking about before the question, but it's having a systematic approach to improving those numbers and in the right order. This is what we call the profit acceleration framework. And so let me share this. We found that almost every business we've ever analyzed, there's at least $50,000 in immediate revenue opportunities just by fixing the order of operations. And that's just the beginning. And here's a real world example. A manufacturing company was struggling with growth. They were about to invest $100,000 in new marketing campaigns. When they finally stopped to analyze their business, which is what they need, most businesses need to do, they found that their follow-up process was inconsistent. They had no systematic approach to objection handling. Their pricing strategy was all over the place and wasn't optimized, did not have upsells and downsells, and they had no formal client retention program. And by fixing these issues in the right order before spending that money on marketing, they increased their revenue by $250,000 in just 6 months, and they didn't spend an additional penny on marketing. They just spent the same amount of dollars they were spending. The key is understanding that growth isn't just about doing the right things. It's about doing the right things in the right order at the right time. So think of it like building a house. You wouldn't put up the walls before laying the foundation, right? Well, that's right. Yet that's exactly how many business owners do their growth strategy. That's what they do with their growth strategies. So here's a systematic approach that we recommend. So phase 1 is foundation. So it's the first 30 days. You analyze your current conversion rates. You document your sales process. You identify leakage points. You set up tracking systems. Phase 2, optimization. You improve your conversion process, enhance closing techniques, optimize pricing strategy, and develop an upsell system. Very important. There's always somebody willing to pay a higher price. Those people who always fly first class, they're the people who always want to buy the best. So they're out there. There's a lot of them out there. And so developing an upsell system is really important. That was the phase 2. So in phase 3, what I call acceleration, implement retention programs, develop referral systems, create loyalty programs, and launch strategic partnerships. And only after these phases are complete should you significantly increase your marketing spend. See, what happens is that we business owners end up going to marketing agencies. And the way they try to solve all these problems is have you run a bunch of ads, whether it's on Facebook or social media or newspaper, radio, billboards, whatever it is. That's not the problem. The problem is your messaging. The problem is, the not having not optimizing your pricing. The problem is not improving your conversion process, not enhancing your closing techniques, not working on your position of market dominance, your messaging. That's the problem, not Facebook ads. So we have a couple of questions here from the audience. A listener asks, Michael, how can a business owner determine which of these areas needs attention first in their specific situation? Great question. Well, the first step is what we call a revenue leak analysis. So you look at your last 100 customer interactions and track where you lost them in the process. Was it during the initial contact? Was it the follow-up? Was it at the proposal stage? And the area where you're losing the most opportunities is where you should start. Then use our Pathway to Profit software to analyze the potential impact of improvements in each area. A little plug. And this will give you a clear roadmap of what to tackle first. So another question from a listener. Many business owners feel overwhelmed by all these changes. How do you recommend they start implementing these improvements without disrupting their current operations? Well, that's exactly why I emphasize the importance of the proper sequencing. Start with what we call non-disruptive improvements. That's changes that can be implemented without overhauling your entire operation. Business owners hate making these major changes. So just these non-disruptive improvements. And here's an example. Begin with improving your follow-up process. This doesn't require, any changes to your core operations, but can have an immediate impact on your bottom line. And the key is to make incremental improvements that compound over time rather than trying to change everything at once. That's critical. So before I continue this discussion, we're going to take a 90-second break.
Hey there, business owners. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of blending in with your competitors? Frustrated with slow growth and slim margins? Well, I've got news for you. Everything you've ever learned about growing your business is wrong. But don't worry. I'm here to let you in on a secret weapon, your position of market dominance. It's what sets you apart, makes you irreplaceable, and has customers lining up at your door. My name is Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. I know what you're thinking. Sounds great, Michael, but how do I find my position of market dominance? Well, that's exactly why we've created our game-changing implementation program called Next Step to Market Dominance. In just 90 days, we'll guide you step by step to a position of market dominance by uncovering your unique strengths that competitors can't touch, by crafting a message that resonates deeply with your ideal customer, by building a strategy that turns you into the go-to expert in your field. Now, this isn't theory. These are battle-tested strategies that have helped businesses like yours double, triple, and quadruple their revenue. Don't let another quarter go by struggling to stand out. It's time to dominate your market period. Go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the form, and in the message section, put the word dominate. Or call us at 781-326-3822. That's nextstepcfo.net/contact, or call us at 781-326-3822.
Welcome back. And remember, for any recording of any show, go to powerfulbusinessstrategies.com. So now let's tackle that third major mistake that's costing business owners over 100 grand. And that is having no way to separate yourself from your competitors. And this is perhaps the most expensive mistake of all, because it forces you to compete solely on price. And I'll say it again and again. 95% of business and financial strategies used today are identical to your competitors, and they don't work. If you're doing the same things as everyone else, you're essentially a commodity. And in a commodity, the only differentiator is price. I recently worked with a company that was struggling with this exact issue, and they were using the same marketing messages as everyone else. Best quality, great service, professional team, free estimates. Sound familiar? The problem is, these are what we call industry jargon, phrases that are just so overused, they've become meaningless to customers. And when we analyzed their marketing, we discovered they were saying exactly the same things as their top 5 competitors. I wonder why they were struggling to justify their prices. This is where that position of market dominance becomes critical. And here's the formula that can translate your business. First, you have to identify the most pressing problem or concern that your prospects have about your industry, not your company, but your industry as a whole. What bothers them about it? Then offer a clear and compelling solution that for that particular issue that prospects want but can't find anywhere else. And sometimes, I want to be clear on something. Sometimes your compelling solution might be exactly what your competitors have, but they're not telling anybody about it. I've seen that happen over and over again. So let me give you an example. So a roofing company discovered that one of the biggest concerns in their market was that contractors would take the insurance money and then disappear without completing the work. And that even means deferring the schedule of the work while holding their money. So one of our associates created this position of market dominance. We don't take a cent of your insurance money until we deliver roofing materials to your roof. The result? Their business quadrupled in 12 months. Why? Because they addressed a real fear in their market and provided a solution no one else was offering. And what's amazing about it is many times no one will copy it. It'll be this great strategy, and the competitors won't copy it. That happened with us with our ski guarantee. It's just unbelievable. And when we packaged clothing, no one copied it. But here's what's really interesting, and where most businesses make an expensive mistake. They think differentiation is about being better than the competition. It's not. It's about being different in a way that matters to your customers. So let me share 3 steps to creating your own position of market dominance. The first is the problem identification phase. So you got to survey your market, talk to past customers, study online reviews, both yours and competitors, because you hear customers' voices in those reviews. Identify industry-wide issues that frustrate customers, and create a customer avatar of your ideal customer. That's one person. Second, the solution innovation phase. That's develop unique solutions to these problems, test different approaches, create systems that can deliver consistency, and document your unique process. Sometimes, when you develop a position of market dominance, it does require a change in your operating basis. I know that freaks everybody out, but just think about it this way. The more the change in your operating basis, the more difficult it's going to be for a competitor to duplicate it. And step 3 is the communication phase. Use the conversion formula. Captivate. That's the problem the customer has. Fascinate. That's the solution. Educate and close. That's the offer. Closes the offer. That has to be so compelling your customer can't turn it down. And train your team on communicating this message. But here's the crucial part. Your position of market dominance must be significant enough to matter, different enough to notice, clear enough to communicate, and strong enough to defend. Here's a question from a listener. You mentioned the position of market dominance needs to permeate every aspect of the business. How can business owners ensure that their team fully embraces and implements this positioning? Well, that's crucial. The key is what we call position of market dominance training. So start by having your team identify the customer pain points from their own interactions. Let them help develop the solutions. And when your team creates the position of market dominance, they naturally embrace it. So let me give you another real world example. An accounting firm was struggling to stand out in a crowded market. Every accountant was promising accuracy, timeliness, and professional. Well, what do you think the customer was saying? I hope so. I hope the returns are accurate. I hope they're on time and with professionalism. That's I hope so marketing. And when we dug deeper, we discovered that business owners' biggest frustration wasn't about quality of accounting. It was about understanding what the numbers meant for their business. So they created this position of market dominance. We translate your numbers into plain English every month, or you don't pay for that month's service. This simple shift increased their average client value by 40% and their retention rate by 60%. Why is that? Well, because it addressed the pain point in a way that no other firm was doing. So here's what's critical to understand. Your position of market dominance isn't just a marketing message. It needs to permeate every aspect of your business, how you train your team, how you deliver your service, how you handle problems, how you measure success, and how you price your services. This mistake isn't just failing to differentiate, it's trying to differentiate in ways that don't matter to your customers. So you must differentiate ways that matter to your customers. And so let me share something. When we help businesses develop their position of market dominance, we often find that they already have unique capabilities or approaches that already set them apart. They just haven't recognized or leveraged it effectively. And by the way, that's the case with most businesses. They do these things that are just that customers are screaming for and are frustrated about the industry. They don't tell anyone about it. So here's a little tool that we use to help businesses identify their potential areas of dominance. Ask yourself, what do customers constantly praise about your business? Read your reviews. Second, what problems do you solve that competitors struggle with? 3, what processes have you developed that are unique to your operation? 4, what expertise or experience sets you apart? 5, what risks do you eliminate for your customers? But here's the thing. Once you identify your position of market dominance, you can use it to command premium prices. Remember, when you're truly different, you're no longer competing on price. So here is a question. Yep, here's a question from a listener. Michael, many business owners might worry that making such bold promises could be risky. How do you help them manage that risk while still maintaining a strong position of market dominance? Great question. So the key is to build your position of market dominance around capabilities you already have or can reliably develop. Before making any bold promises, we help businesses create what we call a delivery insurance system, and that's a documented process that ensures that they can deliver on their promise on a consistent basis. For example, that roofing contractor already had an excellent project management system in place. They just needed help leveraging that PMD, or position of market dominance, as a market differentiator. So another question, what if a business owner discovers that their potential position of market dominance would require significant operational changes? Should they wait until everything's perfect before rolling it out? Great question. I addressed this a little earlier to some degree, but no, they should not wait until everything's perfect. Perfection is always the enemy of progress. So instead, we recommend what we call, let's say, a progressive dominance rollout. Start with a smaller, manageable promise that you can deliver on consistently. Then as your systems improve, expand your promise. The key is to start with something meaningful that you can deliver on consistently, and then build from there. So before I continue this discussion, we're going to take a 90-second break.
Hey there, business owners. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of blending in with your competitors? Frustrated with slow growth and slim margins? Well, I've got news for you. Everything you've ever learned about growing your business is wrong. But don't worry. I'm here to let you in on a secret weapon. Your position of market dominance. It's what sets you apart, makes you irreplaceable, and has customers lining up at your door. My name is Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. I know what you're thinking. Sounds great, Michael, but how do I find my position of market dominance? Well, that's exactly why we've created our game-changing implementation program called Next Step to Market Dominance. In just 90 days, we'll guide you step by step to a position of market dominance by uncovering your unique strengths that competitors can't touch, by crafting a message that resonates deeply with your ideal customer, by building a strategy that turns you into the go-to expert in your field. Now, this isn't theory. These are battle-tested strategies that have helped businesses like yours double, triple, and quadruple their revenue. Don't let another quarter go by struggling to stand out. It's time to dominate your market, period. Go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the form, and in the message section, put the word dominate. Or call us at 781-326-3822. That's nextstepcfo.net/contact, or call us at 781-326-3822.
Welcome back. And remember, you can catch any recording of any show at powerfulbusinessstrategies.com. So as we wrap up today's show, let's summarize the $100,000 mistakes we've uncovered, and more importantly, the solutions that can transform these costly errors into profit opportunities. Well, first, we discussed the expensive mistake of failing to speak your customer's language. Remember, different age groups have different hot buttons and concerns. A 30-year-old business owner has a completely different set of priorities than a 50-year-old. By aligning your messaging with your customer's actual concerns and creating that customer communication matrix we discussed, you could dramatically improve your conversion rates. Second, we uncovered how doing things in the wrong order is silently draining your profits from your business. Remember that 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from just 20% of your activities. The key is focusing on the right 20% in the right order. Start by optimizing your conversion process before spending more money on marketing and advertising. Follow our 7-step pathway to profit formula. Improve conversions, then closing rates, then transaction values, then retention, and frequency of sale and cost control. And only then significantly increase lead generation cost. Third, we tackled perhaps the most expensive mistake of all, having no way to separate yourself from your competitors. Your position of market dominance isn't just about being better. It's about being different in a way that matters to your customers. Remember our examples: the roofing company that wouldn't take payment until materials were delivered, the accounting firm that guaranteed plain English explanations. Here's what I want you to take away from today's show. These mistakes are actually opportunities in disguise. Every business that currently making these mistakes is leaving money on the table. That means when you fix them, you're not just stopping the bleeding, you're creating new opportunities for compound growth that your competition isn't even aware of. Remember, everything you've ever learned about growing your business is wrong, but that's actually good news, because when you start doing things differently from your competition, that is when you start seeing breakthrough results. To get a copy of the book, Powerful Business Strategy, simply go to our website, www.nextstepcfo.net. It's totally complimentary. And until next Monday at noon Eastern Time, for Chucky Obio, my name is Michael Barbarita, and remember, don't keep doing what your competition is doing.
You have been listening to Powerful Business Strategies, finding out that everything you ever learned about growing your business is wrong. Tune in next week and every week at noon Eastern Time on W4CY Radio with your host, Michael Barbarita of Next Step CFO and moderator Chucky Obio.